I'm sure everyone here could tell me a little bit about Christianity or Judaism. However, not so many could tell me anything, or maybe just a little bit, about Scientology, which is pretty surprising concerning it's one of the fastest growing religions today. It has over 8,500 churches or affiliated organizations in over 165 countries. In my time today, I'd like to inform you a little bit about the religion by talking about its history, its teachings, and the controversies surrounding it. Who knows, maybe by the end of the speech you may want to join it yourself. Alright, so Scientology started with L. Ron Hubbard around 1950 when he published the book Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. Dianetics, which is a set of ideas and practices regarding the metaphysical relationship between mind and body, it got a huge following, and this book was actually on the New York Times bestseller list for 6 months. And so, with this group and these cult followers, he formed Scientology in 1952. A couple years after, the first Church of Scientology opened in 1944 in California, and shortly afterwards, a church opened in Washington, D.C. And then later on, it finally gained recognition in 1993 when the IRS deemed it a tax-exempt religion, and the U.S. declared it a real religion. It offers a new perspective, which attracted many people, including lots of celebrities, and it's one of the only major religions to come out in the 20th century, and with over 500,000 people, it's one of the fastest growing today. So, what attracts all these people, you might ask? The teachings are very different than lots of the typical religions. It teaches that many people have these hidden abilities that can only be revealed through auditing. Auditing is a one-on-one process where a Scientologist sits down with the Scientologist counselor or the auditor, and through using the E-meter in counseling, they try to remove engrams. And by removing these engrams, which are more or less bad thoughts which cloud your judgment and basically prevent you from achieving a state of nirvana. So basically they try to remove the engrams, and then the more engrams you remove, the higher state of a Scientologist you become. And the higher you become, the more history of Scientology they tell you. And so, once you become a high enough level, you learn about the history of Scientology. And it's very complex, so I'm going to try to give you a rough summation of how Scientology came to be. So, 75 million years ago, the alien galactic ruler named Xenu, he controlled 76 planets in the galaxy, and they were all overpopulated. So he more or less kidnapped almost 13 trillion people from these 76 planets, and he put them all on Earth. He put them near the volcanoes on the Hawaiian and Canary Islands, and as he was leaving, he dropped hydrogen bombs in the volcanoes and blew everybody up. And so these people that he blew up became Thetans, which tried to escape Earth's atmosphere. However, he trapped them in and showed them films of reality, or what we know as history, and then that is how, and they were floating around, and they basically existed since mankind came around. And when mankind came, they attached themselves to beings which created the history. And so it's Scientologists' goal to remove these body Thetans from all humans so they can see themselves as true being and actually see this history. And so, obviously there's a lot of controversy surrounding Scientology, just like there is any other religion. And it happens because the story is some may see it as very far-fetched. And it gets lots of negative play in the news. In shows such as South Park, or there's a very famous Tom Cruise interview with Matt Lauer, where he's yelling at Matt Lauer about how the teachings of Scientology are true and psychology is just a scam to get people to pay money. And then Richard Baer, an author for Time magazine, said it was a huge scam, basically only surviving by intimidating its people and its critics by mafia-like tactics. And then there's constant protest from groups. One specific one is an internet group named Anonymous, and they try to prevent Scientologists because they see it as an abuse of religion. And so, I hope to have enlightened you a little bit about Scientology in this speech, and now you can make your own judgment about it. Through its teachings and its history and its controversies, hopefully you now know a little bit more. But before you deem it as being so far-fetched, you should take a look about other popular religions like Christianity and Judaism. It's said that Moses parted the Red Sea and Jesus came back to life, so if you think this is far-fetched, I also think that's a little bit far-fetched.
All right.